Hi, how are you?
So
Hi, how are you?
welcome to day one, right, of the Detox Plan for Athletes, the newly revamped version.
Yeah. Am I the only one here?
I think I know that Ken can't make it, and Tony is coming later. She's taking care of her mom, and so she's
Okay.
going to be a little bit late.
Okay.
So yes, you might be the only one here for a little bit. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, it's all good with me.
Yeah. So how is it going so far? Because you should have gotten the email to tell you what to do on day one
Yeah.
and kind of how to get started.
Yeah, it's going good. Actually, I started getting emails from you last week, so I just started last week and figured I'll just kind of continue, go for extra.
Okay.
So yeah, I thought it'd be fun to see what other people, how they do with it, and I don't know, just part of the group atmosphere or something different. So I would say for me, it's going good so far. I mean, obviously I've done it before, and it was a lot of positive from it before. Yeah, I think there are just some things that, like I said, would be good to reintroduce, to try again. And
so what did you do differently this time than you did the first time? Because I actually changed it to be called, like, it's a plant-based challenge. And it's like it's plant-based only from the standpoint of it's going to be a lot more vegetables than you're probably used to eating, and it's focusing more on the root vegetables rather than grains.
Yeah.
So it is plant-based, but you get to eat your proteins if you need your proteins.
Yeah, I think there's just more stuff available now in the store than there was in 2014 when I first
did this.
When I first did this, like with like the lentil pastas and chickpeas and just a lot of other stuff that I think makes it, just I think the variety is still there, but just makes it a little bit more convenient than what it was.
Absolutely. Well, and now there's a lot more. There's, first I had one client one of the earlier seasons of doing this, where Friday night was pizza night in their house. And he was not happy with, no pizza on Fridays. But now it's like, well, you can still do pizza. I mean, it's, technically we're not really supposed to have a lot of dairy in the plan either.
Yeah.
Now there's cauliflower crust pizzas. There's banza pasta or banza pizza, which is chickpea. And that one's pretty good too. So there's a whole bunch of things available. And in the recipe book, I don't know if you ever made it, is a sweet potato cauliflower crust.
Yeah, I tried that last time. I haven't done that this time. One thing in starting last week, I think middle of the week last week, you sent an email about the importance of water. And
here you go, water. If you're on the camera, that's my
that was
1 liter, and my goal is to drink 2 of them a day.
Now that's one thing I was really good at the first time, but I wasn't doing so good last week, and I really kind of upped that late week over the weekend, and I definitely notice having more of water. One thing that I don't know is, or at least unique to my situation, is I work in healthcare, and when you have to have a mask on, it's a lot harder to drink. And it's kind of funny because my wife works in healthcare too, and we've both talked about that throughout COVID, how it's much more difficult to just drink the way you used to during the workday.
Is it more the time restriction, or is it physically because you've got the mask on and you don't want to take it off?
Well, because you have the mask on, and so you may go for, instead of I think before, you'd just be sitting there working regularly, sipping, drinking. Whereas now it's more like it may be an hour or two, and then you go drink half a liter or something like that.
Right.
Kind of a thing. So that's
it becomes a scheduled event, so to speak.
Yeah. Now the Green Monster, I've continued to use that this whole time. Like I've always like that's just become a staple kind of morning.
You know, mine too. I actually did stop for a little while, and I make the J shake. So I put the turmeric and the I kind of combine the two. So instead of putting apples in mine, I put a little bit of the apple cider, but I put a little bit of pineapple in there, and then I put turmeric and ginger in there with a little bit of pepper and copaiba essential oil. So it gives a little anti-inflammatory. But you know, it's like when I don't drink it, I definitely notice a difference. And I haven't had it for probably 3 or 4 months, just from sheer laziness, you know. And it's like, I don't feel like it, but you know, I make a whole blender full. So this is what happens is you get a big container of it. Plus I have another glass container of it. And I just, you know, plus I had another 16 ounces that I got to drink, or 12 ounces. So, you know, I totally missed it. And I when I had it this morning, I was like, oh, this is so good. Why did I stop?
So I mean, things that I noticed like leading up to this that I've noticed some changes in is I feel like my energy was not good during the middle of the day, and I've definitely noticed an improvement there. And then, you know, in my training, I felt more hungry, like
Before normal. Or now?
No, I felt more hungry during like out running or whatnot, to where like more so than normal. But now after whatever, a week, 10 days, I have not felt as hungry. Like I'm able to sustain, I guess, better consistent energy with my training, you know, and I know what my downfall is, you know, is I have the sweet tooth. So it's probably sugary snacks or bars or, you know, gummies or things like that, to where I've kind of changed back to taking just like little packets of applesauce on my, you know, I mean, a natural sugar versus the other. So
have you tried taking dates at all or no?
I don't
like them.
Well, no, like I'll snack on like the Lara bars and stuff, you know, that are a date based kind of bar. But but I don't feel like I process heavier fat protein necessarily on a standard run. Now, if I'm running like an ultra 50 or 100, then yeah, sure, just because it's slow.
Right, but what I'm thinking is that the Lara bar specifically, and same thing probably even with the RX bar, is there's a little bit too much nuts in there for that sustained ongoing energy. It's like it's too much nuts for the body to process. So even though it's like it's good and it's, you know, balanced and it's, you know, 4 ingredients or 5, it's too many nuts. And when you're running, your body doesn't want to process diddly squat, you know, it wants simple things. So the applesauce is easy, you know, actually baked potato slices are easy too, just because, you know, they're soft. But if you just took dates by themselves, I think you might notice that you can use those.
All right, I'll try that. I'll add that to the mix. I know I've gotten out my Scratch Portables book to look, you know, to kind of reacquaint myself with some of the rice balls and things like that. Well,
I think there's a couple of energy bars in this plan too. So you might even try those, but again, those still have some nuts. And I found like there's the one recipe, the almond beet pancake. Those things are the bomb, by the way. You know,
I'll try that.
And you put cocoa in them, so they're chocolatey. If you don't like beets and you're like, I don't care how great they are, I don't care that they will give me this extra nitrous oxide so that I could, you know, run better, run stronger, run faster, blah blah blah, recover better. I can't do a beet. Then put in a sweet potato or a regular potato, and it'll just be an almond pancake. But I modified it because when I made it from the original version, I had one of them. I think I had one, maybe even 2. They're not that big, but I went and played tennis and I was burping nuts the whole morning. And I was just like, we are modifying that recipe because I can't be doing that. And not a single one of my clients, athletes or not, needs to be consuming that many nuts in any sitting. So it has just enough nuts to kind of give it a little bit of body, but
Okay.
it's like a third of a cup, where the original recipe was, I think, a cup and a half.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess my point is that, since, the last, whatever, day 9 of this, I have for sure noticed feeling less hungry during the actual exercise, as well as my energy throughout the day
Okay.
has better. Like, I keep looking at my skin in the mirror in the morning to see, because I did notice a big difference in that last year. And I think I look, clear. I don't know, for whatever reason, I haven't
I
really
should
weighed.
have had to take you a picture before and after,
Yeah, I know. Like, I haven't weighed myself, so I don't really know if I've lost any weight or not.
I do that. Like I just did it last week because I was, since I was redoing the
Yeah,
program, I stepped on the scale. I'm like, just out of curiosity. And,
yeah,
and I've been hovering the same weight forever.
yeah.
But my activity level isn't as high just because I've got arthritis in my right hip now. So, but I literally, just by changing some of the things in the plan, meaning, add more water and eat more root vegetables and just more vegetables in general, it's like, I'm sleeping better. And how about that? I just lost 3 pounds and I really didn't do the full, I wasn't even doing the full detox plan. It was
Uh-huh.
just really just modifying and taking some of the junk out that I had
Yeah.
included.
Well, like I said, I mean, I mean, just hearing you talk, I would say generally in life, I'm probably similar to you, but there are some junk kind of sweet snacks in there. And that's I think that's what gets me. And just by making those modifications with, more vegetables and things like that, like, I have definitely noticed the energy difference. The thing that I'll see later this summer that I'm really interested in improving too is the last year or so, like my bloods, like, I've had high C-reactive protein, some inflammatory markers.
Right.
So
Well, this should definitely help, but I am the queen of anti-inflammatory plans. So it's kind of a little bit of a modification of this, but it's something that, because I've got arthritis and I had a hip replacement 8 years ago on the left side,
yeah,
and on the right, I was just like, all right, that's where I had to dive into what else is going on, because the anti-inflammatory diet isn't quite enough in that regard. And I had to do all the emotional work, the energy work, the uncovering the burdens that I took on from grandparents, the epigenetics patterns that were passed on from generations prior to me, and then all the childhood traumas. So it's like, well, okay, now I know that there's all these other things that I stopped the arthritis, and now I'm reversing it to allow the body to heal. So allowing the body to heal also means you have to challenge it with some exercise, but you can't challenge it so much that now you're recovering from the challenge.
yes, exactly.
So it's like, I'm not as fit as I was, but that anti-inflammatory plan is what I created 8 years ago, before that first hip replacement. Because food, if you're eating inflammatory food and you don't know it, you're just going to have pain. And that's, part of it, that C-reactive protein being elevated. We could, see how it goes with this, but we might be able to just do a session and just kind of modify what you're doing, and see if we have to add some other anti-inflammatory things to really kind of put the anti-inflammatory plan on steroids, so to speak.
Oh, yeah. And like you, I would say I have a more broader global approach than what I did 7 or 8 years ago. So I guess that's good. I've evolved in life to where meditation and other things, like, I recognize that it's not everything is just in a vacuum of nutrition or training or
right.
not, that it's kind of all encompassed, and you have to have multiple ways of approaching things.
Yeah, well, and that's, I was talking to somebody this morning, and they're like, how did you get into this? I'm like, my own problems, like life. And 5 months after my first Ironman, I had severe dehydration going after that Ironman. I had the overnight stay with 5 IV drips. You think I was a little dehydrated?
Yeah.
So I can talk about what it feels like and be the expert, which is why I have a blog post or 2 just on the signs of dehydration. And it's not just the basic 5 or 6, there's 19 of them. So it's my journey of having that adrenal exhaustion where I realized, later on, first you got to dive in to find out how the hell did I get here? And then you go, oh, I only have one way of dealing with stress: training. More stress, more training, and it was spiritual stress, mental stress, physical stress, new job stress. My car got stolen stress. I was on a restricted diet stress for a health issue. And breakup, training for an Ironman, new house, not getting along with my sister that I bought the house with, and you name it, I pretty much had it, and I was like, oh my God, no wonder I got here, because I just would go drink another cup of coffee, eat a Cliff Bar, and go do another training session, because that's the only way I knew how to deal with stress. Yes,
I would probably not all the same details, but similar
tendencies.
That my go-to to deal with life was to go run and think about it, or go hike, or go ski, or whatever it was physical, like that, like looking for the endorphin kick.
Well, the endorphins are a painkiller. I mean, honestly, they're a painkiller. So why wouldn't we want to go get endorphins? Plus, they're like opiates. They're happy, feel good.
Yeah.
So we want to feel good, and we're not feeling good. So we go get some more endorphins, and we become endorphin junkies. And then we need a 2-hour run just to clear our head. So that's what I know. It's like, okay, you might be in denial, but I know better that we need to teach you other ways of coping with stress.
Yeah. So that's what I'm learned, and learning. That's why, like I said, wanted to come back to the nutrition, meditation, all these other things that I'm now kind of incorporating from more global perspective. And recognizing that there are other means than just training. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta breathe, and sometimes my question to clients is like, well, why is that a trigger? And then that opens a whole nother conversation. And it's like, if you just ask yourself, why is that a trigger, and really kind of dive into that introspection is like, it's typically something that happened in childhood. And that's the way your 7-year-old or your 5-year-old was able to cope with and survive the situation. Yeah, for sure. So, we use training to run away and escape. Yeah. And, we felt free. But the body eventually told us otherwise, and God gave us a whack over the head. And it's like, all right. Yeah. Guess I didn't listen to the warning signs. Yeah. Yes, for sure. Yeah. All right. I've got to get back to work, but no problem. It was great chatting with you, and I'm so happy that you're doing this, and you're gonna continue it for an extra week. So you can actually share your insights with others when they come on, and keep up the great work. I'm happy for the insights, like the energy continuous through the whole day. I'm finding also that I'm not as hungry through the day. My workouts are actually getting better, and I'm not sore. Like I did a ridiculously hilly ride on Saturday, and I should have been sore as hell, and I was not. Yeah, well, great. Awesome. Glad to hear you're doing good, and nice to talk to you, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Likewise. Great. Thank you, Chris. Thanks. Have a good afternoon. Thank you, you too. Bye.